The Philosophy of a Nomad, Part 2. All your life you seek to master skills, to achieve certain achievements. Did they really serve you? Did it really get you what you were looking for? Are you not still empty? The one studies, the one toils over hard work. Did it really matter in the end? Can he take that knowledge with him when he leaves this world? It's all in vain. I spent 25 years learning survival skills and ethnobotany, the study of plants and all their uses. Will it serve me in the life to come? Is not all those years futile and wasted? All those hours, will they actually add up to anything that's going to make my soul any better? Surely it helped me while I was here. Why do people spend 90% of the time trying to fend for their needs and only 10% ever actually looking at anything I'm talking about here? If they even get the 10%. Why are people so afraid to face these fears? Why can't they look at it? Surely if we would just all sit down and have a real discussion on the matter, a majority of us would come to terms that why am I doing something? What really matters? Nomad face for that every day. He's not a nomad because he didn't have the skills to build a house, or he didn't have the desires to become somebody successful in life. No, a nomad sat down one day and had a discussion with himself. He came to the terms, with or without God, the terms that something wasn't right. This life was nothing more than a facade. It was more, and we know this because we were told them not to ask these questions. And if they ask the questions, they won't conquer it wrong. It will literally drive them insane, and that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid to look different. They're afraid to be an outcast of society for thinking they did. But eventually, if you're working for everything while you're here, but not preparing for what is to come, how are you going to escape the death that's before you? That's the real question. If I'm going to die in this flesh, how do I keep my spirit going on? According to the Bible, you can lose your flesh and your soul. So how do we extend the soul? It's supposed to live for eternal. People have come up with all kinds of philosophies, religions, ideas that we were all interconnected somehow. And there is some truth, there is truth to that. I am you and you are me. And when I hurt you, I'm really hurting myself. A nomad understands that. He tries not to harbor hate. He tries not to do wrong in people's eyes. He tries to live a very simple life. He tries to be a trumpet and cries out, "Wake up, folks. There's something not right here." But people pass him by as if he's a crazy man on the street, shouting slogans that nobody wants to really hear. And they laugh. But as they laugh, death awaits them. They will face death. And will you be prepared? That all your toil and 90% of what you learn here is going to have any kind of good effect on your life and to come. So why, as humans, are we spending so much energy and time on stuff that really has no meaning, or that's not going to matter? People say, what are we supposed to do? Go sit in the field and wait on God? Surely we'll just starve to death. But somebody has to make food, somebody has to make clothing, somebody has to make shelter. And at this point, you have a point. But once you have those needs, why are you seeking any more? Should that need be fulfilled within that first 10% of your time? So that you have 90% to contemplate on these questions and find out what really matters? Why are we going backwards? I know why. You're afraid. Don't face death. Face your enemy. It's out to hurt you. It's out to destroy you. And it will. But only the person who is prepared can outsmart death. The person who has spent time contemplating on these questions will know the way. And death will not be able to hold it down. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about God because it forces them to think religion. I am in no way talking about religion here. Sooner or later, you're going to have to come to terms something made this place, and it wasn't you. You can come up with the ideas that it's all a Big Bang theory, or even within the Big Bang, something happened to create that Big Bang. You have to think about these things. You have to contemplate on these things. If you do not, you will never come to the terms of what the real truth is. You can avoid it with parties, wild living, storing up wealth, but eventually you will have to face this. It's not going away. If David didn't face Goliath, Goliath was not going to go away. It was going to destroy the Israelites. You had to have a little faith from a little child to be able to stand up to these things that are frightful. You're going to have to be an outcast and look different. You're going to ask questions that people don't want to hear, and they're going to hate you for asking these questions and making them send up these questions in their mind, which only send up red flags to stay away from you. You're going to end up being alone. You're going to be hated. You're going to be despised because you are the person that keeps reminding them of what they fear that is about to come upon them. But a nomad learns not to fear it anymore, but to trust. To trust there is a way, and that you have not been abandoned, and that death is not going to overtake you in the way that you feared all along. You're only going to have to come to the terms there is a God. There is something higher than all this. If you really ask these questions, strip away everything that you own, every idea that you've ever had that was conceived by schooling and government, and start really thinking about what's really going to happen. You're going to come to these terms. There is no avoidance. The real sad thing is, if you ever do come to these terms, do you avoid them and say it's just too much to think about? So you turn back to the vomit that you just escaped. Why? Knowing this is going to happen. Would you ever act like it's not happening? Why be the ostrich who puts his head in the ground, pretending there is no danger? The wolves will eat him alive if his head's out of the ground or in the ground. The hyenas will have their lunch. Death is going to eat. But what can you do about it? Is there some way around this? And there is. You come to the terms that you really are not in the flesh. You are a spirit being. You were here before the world was made, and you're going to be here after the world is made by determining what you do here. There are going to be people who don't make it. According to the Bible, there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to be making it. It's going to be the 90% because they never sat down and asked these questions. And that's why the Bible calls it the road to destruction is broad and wide, and the road to life is narrow, and few find it. Because people are afraid to ask questions. You ask questions about your government on a daily basis. You ask questions at school to better serve you in your life, to better understand how you should live your life here. So isn't it right that you should ask questions about what is to come after you die? Why spend so much time and energy focused on a place that you know is not going to last? Does a man who's having a relationship with a girl he met in the bar spend time on a relationship trying to make it work or last when he knows it's only a one-night stand? Or does he sit down with the wife that he married and figure a way to make this work because he knows that should last? In the same way, this life here is a one-night stand. So why are you focusing so much energy trying to make this last when you know it's not going to last? You should be focused on the marriage. God calls it the marriage to Him. You are the bride. He is the bridegroom. So how do you make the relationship between you and God last so that you may live in happy harmony forever and ever? This is the philosophy of a nomad and what goes through most of the nomadic people's mind. Wake up, folks.